Welcome to the Homeschool Show from North Carolinians for Home Education. I'm Amanda Wares, your host, and today for our co-host, I have Melanie Willis. Hi, Melanie.
Hi, I'm glad to be
It's
back
so
here with
fun to
you.
have you back on here.
We have a few things to talk about today, okay? And
Yeah.
so we're gonna talk a little bit about NCHE. We're gonna answer some of the questions of what we've seen on the internet. We're gonna talk about being a real mom and what that means.
Absolutely.
And then Amanda is going to have a homeschool helps for us to tell us about how to avoid the slide during the holiday break or during our summer break, as it will be coming up in another couple of months, right?
Yep.
And so we're glad you're here with us today. And so let's talk just for a second about NCHE. And what I want to say before Amanda talks is that I want everybody that is watching this to please share these videos with your homeschool friends. Share the website, share our Facebook page, because not everybody is seeing this stuff. And while you may have been homeschooling for a while and feel like you've got a good grasp on things, or maybe you don't, maybe this is like all new to you and you're like, oh, I needed to hear this. There are so many more people that need to hear this also. So if you could please share everything NCHE with your homeschool community, that would be really wonderful.
Absolutely. I was thinking this week, I've been seeing some other homeschool conferences start to advertise really, really heavily all around on the interwebs. And I think that it's great that there's so many resources out there these days. But one thing that maybe our listeners and watchers out there don't know is the difference between an organization like NCHE and these other conferences that are very flashy and get often great big names, have a huge marketing budget and all these things, is that NCHE, number one, is run almost completely by volunteers. That we're here serving because we love homeschooling. We love homeschoolers in North Carolina, and we're not out to make money. We're not out, all of those things. And also, when those other kind of big conferences come and go, when they leave, they're gone out of that state or that city.
That's right.
NCHE and other state organizations, we're here all year long. I'm here, Melanie's here answering phone calls and emails and post online all year long, day after day. So it's just really an important source of support that we couldn't do this without you. We can't do this without your help and your support. And that's why I know Melanie wanted to mention real quickly that we're still in the middle of our end of year giving campaign. And, everybody in the world is having a giving campaign right now at the end of the year. And maybe you, like me, see one more ask for donations and you think, oh, maybe. But I can't tell you how much in our organization a little goes a long way because, like I said, we're mostly all volunteers. And that money really does go directly to support you in your homeschooling. So please consider, if you haven't, giving to this campaign. Please consider, like Melanie said, liking, sharing, supporting NCHE is just the best thing you can do for homeschooling in North Carolina.
Thank you, Amanda. That was really well worded. Your heart came out. I like that. So, Amanda, we're going to move on to what we've seen on the internet this week. And before I ask you these questions, I just want to preface this with I want everybody to feel very comfortable asking any question that you have. And to some of you, some of these questions, you may be a North Carolina homeschooler that is very familiar with the law and all the things, and these seem real simple to you. And for others, you may be starting out fresh, and these are really important questions that you want answered. So that's another reason why you should share all these videos, because there are people that just don't have all the answers yet.
Right.
I didn't have any answers when I first started. I don't know that I have the answers now.
That's
But
so true.
yeah, so these questions are just really important. So the first one I have for you today, Amanda, is, can homeschool kids go to college?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So, my three graduates, as I've said before on the show, I have four kids. Three have graduated. One is still at home in high school. My three graduates have all gotten into college and gone for various amounts of time. And one, my son, has graduated from college. So, a few things that I have experienced personally getting homeschooled kids into college. One, colleges love homeschoolers. I think maybe 30, 40 years ago, maybe homeschoolers were still having to prove themselves to colleges, but nowadays that is just not the case. Colleges are so aware that homeschoolers get into college, they are prepared. They're a lot of times are independent learners. They're able to really think, which is sometimes a rare skill these days. And a lot of colleges even have homeschool liaisons that they employ just to recruit and help homeschoolers successfully transition into college. So the short answer to that question is absolutely. And then whenever you are doing your transcript or application or all that, I can only think of a very short list of colleges and universities that may have a few extra little hoops for homeschoolers to jump through, but 9 times out of 10, it's just the same process as anybody else. And they love homeschoolers.
Yeah.
So,
I know it's been a growing trend that they actually kind of separate those homeschoolers out first and actually want them above some of the public school kids, just because of
yeah,
what you said. They're self-led. They have that ability to think on their own. And that's a
yeah,
really great thing. And it
yeah.
actually kind of falls into a little bit about this next question. Can homeschooling prepare my child for the real world? And I personally think, because there's been times where I feel like I've fallen behind a little bit in teaching them the way I think I should,
Right.
whatever that is, that goal that we set for us that's out of reach.
Yes.
And I think that sometimes just simply living life, we learn so much. And I believe that as homeschoolers, because we're not going to a brick and mortar building for hours on end every day, there's a little bit more opportunity to live life and to learn from what life gives us. What do you
Oh,
think, Amanda?
absolutely. I have seen that in my own kids. I've seen it in their friends, so often, maybe just because of the situation where they're not kind of in this weird, uh, people always say this about homeschooling, but I would find that brick and mortar school is way more isolating than homeschooling. Because, think about it. If you're in a brick and mortar school, you're in a classroom with people your same age all day long. In homeschooling, you're encountering the real world
Yeah.
every single day. I think about when my kids were little and we would go to the grocery store, go to the post office, go to all the places. And I have found with my own kids, their friends, that as they move into adulthood in the real world, they are very well prepared. They're well prepared to, interact with different types of people, different ages of people. Um, they're really oftentimes, as we are business owners also, so we deal with a lot of different employees. That my kids and their friends are excellent employees. They have, their work ethic is just different. It just is.
Yes.
So I
And
think
I think
that,
that you said, you're a business owner. They get to see their parents and brothers and sisters doing life and doing the
yes,
things of life
yeah,
more than I think that there's a chunk of my life missing when I left my mom at home all day long and I went to public school,
Yeah,
and then things just were done. I never saw them happening. And so I think that living life side by side with the rest of your family, you just learn more.
absolutely.
So I think that
Absolutely.
that we're actually more prepared for the real world. So I think that
Definitely.
that's a really good thing. Okay, so we're going to shift gears here a little bit, and Amanda, I'm probably going to throw you under the bus. So I really want to talk about being a mom and being real and what being real looks like. And for those of you out there that have been watching, you've heard a little bit, that Amanda and I both had moves within the past year. And Amanda especially has just gotten back into her home, which was flooded and had to go under major construction. And it's literally just been within the past week and a half, 2 weeks at the most, right?
Yep.
And it's not been smooth at all.
Not at
And
all.
yeah, and so I think that we as homeschool moms specifically have a tendency when we start this homeschooling career, we go out and we see other people that are doing it different than we would maybe, or we set goals that are too high based on what we've seen other people do. Um, I know I spoke before, I have a homeschool mom friend that during the summer, she gets all prepared for her homeschool year, literally lists out 180 days, and she knows every single thing she's going to teach on all 180 days. She has labs prepared and all the ingredients she needs to do that. And I'm like, okay, I failed because I can't do that. I think I spoke one time before about how, I just tried to plan 6 weeks out in advance. And I did. I wrote it all down. And then life happened. And man, I felt like I had wasted so much of my time making this plan that just could not happen.
Right.
And, there's so many different ones of us. And for those that can do that, that can be so prepared, that's awesome. But if you're not that type of person, that is a weight that you should not put on yourself at
Yeah.
all.
Right.
And so here we are as moms in the holidays, and we're trying to homeschool and we're trying to keep our houses, or we're trying to unpack all the boxes, and we're decorating and we've got all the food to prepare and get all the gifts together and have holiday gatherings and do whatever special programs at church. The list goes on and on.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but I feel a weight and a burden, and I don't want it to steal my joy.
Right.
And so I just want to speak to your hearts that you be you and you do the things that are right for your family and not try to be somebody else's family. Um, right now, for example, I think, Amanda and I are sitting here making this recording for you. And I would hope that for the most part on your end, you're thinking these ladies have it together. Well, let me be honest with you. You see Amanda's background right now. She is struggling to find a place to even sit down with a computer right now. The
It's true.
boxes are endless. And honestly, I've been living in this house for 5 months. And when I see what's in front of me right now that you can't see, it's boxes. It's a mess. It's stuff that's been unpacked but not put away. What you see behind me is literally the only place I could have recorded today because it's a disaster. Um, I am
Yeah.
dressed right here, right? I may or may not have Christmas pajama bottoms on right now. Okay.
I love that.
Amanda, tell me what you're feeling right now.
So it's this strange combination of unsettled because I literally have quite a few workers in my house right now. There are boxes, unpacked boxes everywhere. And somehow, I still feel even though I only have a teenager at home, so I don't feel like, oh, I need to make the magic of Christmas, but I think as moms, we feel that burden of we need to facilitate all the things, right? Um, the decorating, which in my house is probably not happening this year. The gifts, all the things. I think we as moms sometimes bear the burden of
Mhm.
all of that. And I have really been battling this weird balance of, okay, I have all this craziness going on in my life. So literally there's a lot of holiday things and holiday, feelings that I just can't deal with right now. And then there's the guilt of, oh, the mom guilt. I'm not doing all the things. I'm not,
Strong.
you know, and so what do you do with that? What do you do with that? And I will tell you that what I did yesterday, and it took a whole week for this to happen, but I reached out and asked some people to pray for me. I really did. To be able to say, I'm not feeling it. Would you just pray that I would feel the joy of
Mhm.
this season? Because life is crazy, it is chaos, and I'm not feeling it. And I think sometimes that's the most important thing we can do
Yeah,
is just
absolutely.
be real, be honest, and say, this is where I am.
Yeah,
And life's a mess, but we can still celebrate. We can still celebrate Jesus. We can still have joy,
right.
even if life's a mess.
And this is all year long.
Oh,
Joy has
yeah.
always been one of those things that I have focused on. And I think it must be because I keep trying to have that joy stolen. I don't keep trying. The joy keeps being stolen over and over again over these past several years. And that's not what God would want for us. He wants us to feel that joy. And even in the rough times when we
Yeah.
stop and think, it's there. It's just whether or not we choose to live in it and choose to experience it. And it's not always easy to make that
Right.
decision. I know as we made these last several moves, we had more than one year where we didn't have our Christmas things around us. And it was, it was difficult. We had to be very intentional to make that joy be
Yeah.
real in our lives. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, as homeschool moms and parents, just be you and do what is right for your family in any given time. And that may mean not doing school for a bit. I know we talked about that a little bit after the hurricane came through this year, so if that's something that's on your mind, you might want to go back and find that episode, our special episode that we had after Helene, because there are times when you just have to stop. I tend to homeschool year round. I homeschool as much as I can through the holidays. I homeschool as much as I can through the summer, just because, with 6 kids, I've learned that things started going awry when I didn't do school, but there have been plenty of times. And I think that that's part of why I chose to homeschool year round also, is because then if somebody's getting married or something else is going on, or the Christmas play is happening this week, I don't have to worry about doing school. It's
Right.
okay to not do school for a week and get my sanity back, or
Mhm.
2 weeks or a month, whatever it takes for you right now to
That's exactly right.
experience joy in your life. But on that same note, Amanda,
Yes.
let's go into Homeschool Helps with Amanda for this week.
Yeah.
And I want you to tell us how to avoid the slide during the holidays.
Wow. Oh, that's a loaded question. But um I do now I will say, because I'm a pretty laid back homeschooler. I am not type A in any cell of my body. But I have found that with my kids, either at holiday times or in the summer, if we don't keep something going, then when it's time and I say, okay, it's time to get back on it, it's like a shock to the system. So it is a true thing, the slide. It is a true thing, no matter how relaxed of a homeschooler you are. And I have found, so what I try to do in the summer or even holiday times, I try and keep something going. In my house, that something is usually math.
That
If
one
we
is the
can,
easiest one
yeah,
because you
I
can put
think of
math
it
in
just to
everything.
say,
Like we talked
oh,
about going to the grocery store, you can keep math in everything.
absolutely. I mean, there's math in everything. If it's Christmas time, make those Christmas cookies and measure and, all that. There's so much. And it's also a pretty simple, not time consuming thing to say, oh, let's do a lesson of math. And then I always have some kind of a read aloud going. That's also an easy one to do at holiday times. I love books in general,
Me
and
too.
I have a collection of Christmas books. And so that's a fun way to just keep it going,
Yeah.
have a book that you're always reading. And if you read and you do a little bit of math and then just live your life, that's a lot. You'll be
Yes.
amazed at how much learning is happening during all that time. Um, and
Like
in
I
the
said
summer, kind
before,
of the same deal. Say
just
that
doing
again.
life, you learn
Yeah.
things. So
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. I also, I don't know that this goes along with the slide exactly, but one thing I try to do at times when maybe our book work, traditional school book work is a little bit less, is I try to have some intentional times of service where we are going out and serving in some way, whether it's at this time of year, I have a couple things I always do. We always go to Operation Christmas Child and pack shoe boxes. We always do that. And I love it. It's kind of a tradition
Me
for
too.
us. We also volunteer with Salvation Army. We go out and ring the little bells. We, pack food for people that don't have food and just things like that. There's a lot of opportunities out there. And so I like in times when maybe our normal schedule is a little less hectic to put in some of those service times as well.
That's
So,
great. That's awesome. I like that.
yeah.
Okay, so as we finish out today, um, Amanda mentioned earlier that, the homeschool conferences are starting to be listed. And so we do want you to start thinking about what happens after the holidays because NCHE does have a lot of things coming up. There, the different field trips, the basketball day at the Hornets,
Yeah.
and we do have there's already hotels opened for Thrive Conference, and the new information for the conference will be coming out. Amanda, when does the January?
The registration will open in January. All the web pages for Thrive have been updated for 2025, so you can get up to date information as much as we have. And it will keep being updated as time goes on. But yeah,
Very good.
January.
Very good. So there's going to be several things that come up in the spring. So you definitely just want to continually make sure you're on the Facebook page or visiting our website at nche.com. And there's just going to be a lot of stuff coming up. But you really do want to consider thinking about what Thrive is going to look like for you this year, because you do want to get the early registration and you want to go ahead and get those hotel rooms booked before they run
Yes.
out. Anything else, Amanda?
I think that's about it. We already mentioned at the beginning the giving campaign, our end of year giving campaign will be going until the 31st. And this is our last show of 2024. So there'll be no more. The next time you see us, it'll be a whole new year. I can't even believe that. But we are taking off the week of Christmas and New Year's. So, I hope that you all have a blessed and just filled with joy Christmas
Yes.
season and New Year's.
Until next time, Merry Christmas.